Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on Tuesday, the 7th of July. Tigers centre in hot water. Warriors player joins criticism of owner less than 48 hours to the resumption of Test cricket. So Tutu extends his contract. Sands are positive about the Rugby Championship happening in 2020. Yes, a bumper edition of news this morning. I was going to say fine morning, but then again, you might be able to hear the sound of or the boys think it's the sound of bacon cooking in the background, but it's actually rain on the roof. Yes, it's a wet day here in the Tron. This is your best way to start the day up to speed with all the important sports news on New Zealand Sports Radio. And in a change to the order this morning, I hand you over to Ashwin, who'll take us through the cricket.
Good morning, Paul, and good morning to our listeners and viewers out there on the interweb. And yes, it's only 48 hours until the resumption of Test cricket. It's 48 hours until the start of the Wisden Trophy series between England and West Indies. West Indies have been resurgent recently after years of finding themselves at the bottom end of the ICC Test rankings. England is one side that they've produced some great performances against. And they're going back to the roots of West Indies cricket, and the bowlers are behind it. The bowlers are only behind India as a unit, and they average 21.78, an average of 20 wickets at average of 21.78, and a strike rate of 42.9 balls per wicket. And in the England camp, there'll be Ben Stokes becoming the 81st Test captain of an English Test cricket team. And whilst with the help of lockdown, they will go into this Test match with a fully fit complement of fast bowlers to pick from. Whilst it looks like Dom Bess will get to the spinner's role over Jack Leach and Moeen Ali, who we will be heading over to the white ball bubble as we reported previously on the morning sports briefing. The batting lineup looks to be headed by Rory Burns, Dom Sibley, Jack Crawley, and Joe Denley. They'll be your top four for England in the absence of Joe Root. So that's what we'll be looking forward to. As I said, just can't wait. It's only less than 48 hours. Finally, some top level cricket getting underway. And as reported yesterday, right here on New Zealand Sports Radio on the morning sports briefing, Kusal Mendes had been arrested for a traffic incident. And he has been released on bail of 1 million Sri Lankan rupees, which is approximately $5,000. He's also been ordered to pay the victim's family 1 million Sri Lankan rupees. His driver's license has been temporarily suspended by the court, and his next hearing date will be the 9th of September. And that, Paul, is our cricket news.
Thank you very much, Ashwin, for bringing us up to date with the cricket news. Moving on then to netball, and we had a very, very rare result last night with the Magic and the Stars battling out a 46-all draw. Draw's very rare, but with the overtime being removed due to COVID and basically the players having to play more games, this became a possibility. In this game, the Magic jumped out to an early lead in that first quarter before the Stars came back and looked to be dominating the game until the final quarter, where a run of 6 goals evened things up by the Magic. And they had the ball, were looking in position to make a shot just before time ran out. Unfortunately, their shooter got penalised for a body infraction, and therefore it ended up as a draw. But yes, a cracking game there over in the ANZ Premiership, which means they both just took 2 points each. To tell you how rare an occurrence it is, they don't even have a drawn column in their table. So it looked like the game missing from now on. Looking at the table, though, the Central Pulse still obviously top the table with their 5 wins, followed by the Northern Mystics. They're on 20 and 16 points. There's then a 5-point gap back to the Mainland Tactics. So you've got to say the Pulse and the Mystics definitely on track to play to face each other in the grand final. The Stars and the Magic come fourth, fifth. The Magic have pulled themselves off bottom of the table, and the Southland Steel bring up the bottom. Now every team has played each other once now in the season. Our next games are back up on Friday when the Pulse will take on the Steel in netball, or the Auckland Netball Arena in St John's. So folks, if you want to get your netball fix, get your tickets for those. And next Sunday will be a double header. You'll have the Stars versus the Magic and the Tactics versus the Mystics. So definitely an exciting one next Sunday if you want to get some netball in. Now I'm going to hand you over to Stephen, who'll take us through our birthdays.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Welcome to a very wet, windy morning in Auckland. Well, there's no draws here, but we do have a triple header when it comes to birthdays this morning. A talented number 8 out of West Auckland, a very well-travelled rugby player who happened to be born in Invercargill, and finally a New Zealand women's cricketer, and that's where we start our birthdays this morning. Katie Perkins, born at this day, the 7th of July 1988, is a New Zealand cricketer. Perkins made her women's T20 international cricket debut for New Zealand against Australia on the 20th of January 2012. 5 days later, she made her women's one-day international cricket ODI against the same team. In 2018, she was awarded a central contract by New Zealand Cricket, and following the tours of Ireland and England in the previous month, in January 2020, she was named a New Zealand squad for the 2020 ICC Women's T20 World Cup in Australia. James Wilson, born this day, the 7th of July 1983, is a professional rugby union player who was born in Invercargill. Wilson, who can play first, 5 and fullback, has played provincial rugby for Southland throughout most of his career, but also played Super Rugby for the Brumbies, the Highlanders and the Chiefs. Wilson had a successful career overseas with clubs in England, France and Japan. He returned to play for Southland in last year's 2019 Mitre 10 Cup. And finally, Ron Cribb, born this day, the 7th of July 1976, is a former New Zealand rugby union player. A loose forward, the 1 metre 94, 110 kg Cribb played at number 8 during his time with North Harbour. Cribb played alongside fellow teammate Troy Flavel, who was also Cribb's teammate at Massey High School First 15 and also in the Massey Premier team. Hey, great to see these guys come through secondary school and club. Cribb played 16 games for the All Blacks Super Rugby for the Crusaders, and at provincial level for North Harbour. He also represented the New Zealand Māori on 6 occasions. That's birthday today. Pretty handy rugby player was Ron Cribb, wasn't he, Ashwin, if you are still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I have no lunches to make at the moment, so I'm able to stick around for a bit longer. Definitely, Ron Cribb was a handy player, and I suppose, you know, it's a bit disappointing that he wasn't able to play a few more games for the All Blacks, I think, because they're definitely Troy Flavel. You know, mentioning Troy Flavel and Ron Cribb in the same breath, they work very well together on the field.
Did Cribb ever play for the Blues? Or
yeah, he did. He did actually. He did. He played for the Blues in 2004, I think it was.
And then went to the Crusaders, or after his stint?
No, he went to the. I believe he went to the Crusaders after his season, 2 seasons with the Blues.
Oh boy, another one missed, eh?
Yeah, bizarre. It's, you know,
Yeah. Is this the morning sports briefing, or is this the kind of the lads propping up the bar trying to see the old boys on propping the bar going, oh, do you remember the days when the theory made?
I'll have a rum and coke, please.
I'll just finish my beer and go to the next one.
Moving on to rugby news then, and both those boys will be happy with Hoskins Tututu, who has extended his contract for 2 years. Obviously, a lot of noise around interest from England and Fiji for his because he's eligible for those 2 countries as well as New Zealand. Yes, so he has extended now until 2022, which is good news there. Also, Sanzar boss Andy Marinos has come out and said that he still thinks that the Rugby Championship could go ahead. This, despite the fact that we've seen Sky Hit TV in New Zealand accidentally announced dates for 4 Bledisloe Cup games with no mention of any rugby championship fixtures. But he believes that it is still possible to host it. They would need 8 weeks, I think he put in order to deliver the TRC, and he said they are currently looking at the back end of October into November and probably early December, being hosted in either Australia or New Zealand. So there you go, folks. Interesting. Apparently, South Africa are looking at the end of August to try and get rugby resumed there. But as a viewer mentioned in our comments on YouTube, South Africa are apparently seeing 10,000 new cases each day. So it'll be interesting. Let's hope they can do. But still, the coronavirus clearly an issue still in South Africa. I'm going to hand you back now to Stephen Harris, who will take us through our NRL update.
Thanks again, Paul, and good morning again, everybody in league news this morning. Founder of the Brisbane Broncos dismayed. We have once again another player from the Warriors joining the chorus of criticism for the Warriors owners, and also Joey Leilua, the Tigers centre, is in a lot of hot water, and that's where we pretty much start our league news this morning. Joey Leilua might be the most hated man in the NRL right now. The West Tigers centre has come under fire for a sickening cheap shot on Penrith Panthers fullback Dylan Edwards during Saturday evening's loss at Bankwest Stadium in Sydney. In the 77th minute of the round 8 clash, Leilua was sent to the sin bin after flinging his right arm into Edwards' jaw, sparking a mammoth brawl. He will miss the next 4 matches after entering a guilty plea for a dangerous contact. Should be a lot more, in my opinion. The disgusting act came after his brother copped a high tackle from Panthers hooker Api Koroso. There was initial concerns. Lusanio Leilua suffered a fractured jaw and a penalty try was awarded, but Joey was unable to control his emotions, giving away several penalties in the second half before his eventual sin binning. He was emotional and he gave away penalties. You just can't do that, Tigers coach Michael Maguire said after the loss. He is aware of it. He has been around long enough. He knows what he has to do. I will talk to Joey. They are costly moments and we need to be better in those situations. There are things we will be talking about during the week. You could see there was a lot of passion, and the boys are fighting really hard to change what we have spoken about over the last month, and now it's about channeling that to be able to win those close games. Leilua could be facing a lengthy period on the sidelines, with the NRL expected to hand down a punishment in the coming days. Now, I think that's come through as a month because there has been criticism in the NRL regarding that particular punishment. On to Warriors news. Warriors forward Jazz Tavanga has joined halfback Blake Green in calling out Warriors owner Mark Robinson following the shock revelation he would cut ties with players managed by Isaac Moses. Moses manages Green, outside back Gerard Beale, meaning 2020 will be the last season at the club for the pair. Tavanga, while understanding of the position of Robinson holds at the club, was left unimpressed and says the squad will be wanting answers. I'm not going to lie, it's not nice to read. It is what it is, and at the end of the day, he does own the club, Tavanga said, and that is very true. But it was evident in the way they played that they used that as motivation in a good performance. Green was irritated at Robinson's decision to make the announcement, which we all saw on TVNZ, without letting him know prior. It seemed to spur Green into actions to, as the veteran playmaker, put in an impressive performance, guiding the Warriors to a 26-16 win and picking up 2 Daily M points in the process. Certainly was his best game in a long time. Interesting to see how this basically plays out. Tavanga expects Robinson will speak to the entire squad in the coming days. We haven't had a chat with him yet, but I'm sure he will have something to say. And also, somebody with something to say is Brisbane Broncos founder Barry Mantra has revealed the club has rejected his offers to help and is puzzled about what's gone wrong. The 85 was instrumental in the Broncos' rise to be one of the most powerful clubs in the competition and had a huge hand in the birth of state of origin. Yet the Broncos are refusing help, as well as offers from former players turned administrators John Rebo and Chris Johns, as well as former CEO Shane Edwards. I've tried to get the message across. He pretty much told a media outlet, there are people like John Rebo, Chris Johns, Shane Edwards. There's a lot of people that want to help, but for some reason, there's a feeling that we've all got a persona non grata approach. We're not necessarily recognised as being able to help. While Mantra is trying to understand there could be reasons behind the club's cold stance towards him, he says the divide between the old and the new is very, very disappointing. So very, very tough times ahead for the Brisbane Broncos. Let's hope they can turn it around. Although it was great to see the Warriors turn it around, unfortunately, at their expense. That's rugby league news for today. I'm about to bail out. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you back tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Stephen, for that NRL update. Moving on then, and in the in the Sal's NBL, the Otago Nuggets will face off against the Auckland Huskies and the Franklin Bulls against the Taranaki Mountain Air this evening in Auckland. Two Auckland teams there, the Huskies and the Bulls, so do get your tickets in. The Otago Nuggets will be looking at pushing towards the top again. They've got 3 wins. A win here will put them equal top with the Franklin Bulls. And they're playing against the Auckland Huskies, who only got 1 win so far. The Franklin Bulls will obviously play soon after that. Will be play up against the Taranaki Mountaineers, who are one of 5 teams that are 1 game behind them, only 2 points behind them in the table. So the Franklin Bulls currently on a run of 4 wins, and you've got to say they'll be looking at trying to cement their place at the top there. Moving on to harness racing, and Nigel McGrath has been banned for 8 years for horse tubing and obstructing racecourse inspectors. They had been asking for 10 years, a 10-year ban, while his lawyer was asking just for a monetary fine. However, the judicial committee said it was overwhelming evidence and have gone for 8 years for him on this one, reduced slightly due to the stress and issues that were going on at the time in there. So big ban there for McGrath, who has been training for over 20 years and has trained 570 winners, wins. So he's got a fairly impressive record over there. There has been a late change for the UFC 251 that is going to be held on Fight Island in Abu Dhabi. George Masvidal has stepped up with just 6 days' notice to take on the welterweight Kamaru Usman, who is the welterweight champion currently. So that's all lined up for this coming weekend. You got to say, on such short notice, he's going to have it's going to be a struggle for him. But good luck in that fight. Finally, in golf, and unfortunately, over the weekend, Kiwi Tim Wilkinson missed the cut at the latest PGA event, the Rocket Mortgage Classic, where Dyson DeChambeau went on to win the event. So unfortunate for Tim there. And don't forget, you can listen to New Zealand Sports Radio on the move. Just search for New Zealand Sports Radio in your favourite podcatcher, be that iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Acast. You have now started the day the best way, up to speed with all the important sports news. Have a wonderful Tuesday, everybody, and please try and stay dry.